exception to that, as I was the author of the ordinance. And then shopped it around the state of Florida, served on the state urban fertilizer task force. Our ordinance and the statewide ordinance that resulted from the task force were both mirror images of the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services guidelines for urban fertilizer application. The only thing that we did was put measurable amounts and dates on the recommendations from DACs that were based upon the best science. In fact, we were the first county in the state to adopt the fertilizer ordinance, first county in the state with the environmental stormwater utility, first county in the state for the landscape ordinance and impervious surface and a lot of other things. And yes, sometimes it is a little bit difficult to be on the bleeding edge, but governing by the lowest common denominator, I would suggest, is not a viable option either. Somebody has to be out front, somebody has to be pioneering some of these innovative techniques. And we just happen to be the first one for the fertilizer ordinance. If we were to not adopt ordinances based upon somebody else in the state of using the ordinance, then we probably wouldn't be doing anything about nothing. The reality, what I think, and the fertilizer ban, the sales ban, is a very difficult issue, and we, as a county commission, never had any intention originally of going to a fertilizer ban. But there is a happy median point that we could be doing. If you go out to the Home Depot during the rainy season, I shouldn't pick on Home Depot, I should just say any big box store, you will see a mountain of fertilizer, non-compliant fertilizer, very, very rich in nitrogen, that our plants do not need during the rainy season because there's plenty of nitrogen-enriched rainwater that's coming down. In fact, you're weakening the plant by putting the nitrogen on during the rainy season. It's there on Wednesday. Friday, it's gone. And then next Sunday, there's another new mountain of this non-compliant fertilizer. And you cannot convince me that individuals are buying this fertilizer and storing it in their garage until Thanksgiving time. They're doing it. But mostly, as Chuck pointed out, it's because of the lack of education. They just simply do not know that this extra nitrogen being added to the surface water is deleterious to the environment that they live in. If we have a point of sale disclosure that says this product is not compliant with the county ordinance, then those which to choose to violate the ordinance and their ignorance is cured, well, there's nothing we're going to be able to do about those anyways. But I would suggest that probably a lot of folks would read that and say, hey, I don't want to participate in that activity, and I will just I'll just simply go. Last, what was it, too? What was the other one?
Septic tank. You're allowing the development of septic tanks over trying to do.
I'll let someone else. I'm going to talk.
Well, that's interesting. I'd like to see, maybe you can get with Chuck afterwards and let him know where. But if you go out to Old Mayaca or you go out to Oak Ford where I live, you're not going to have a sewer line out there, but you are going to have a required new septic tank under the law, which requires the green sand so many feet above the water level. And the next thing that would happen there is, okay, that's good when you do it. It's not going to be polluting anything to any extent. You can't have sewer out there, but there is no mandatory inspections either. And we have a legislator that's trying to bring that back in force as well. But I can't imagine. I can't think of one, but maybe you can let us know later where there's a new subdivision that we're allowing septic tanks. I know there's in areas that have been grandfathered for years that it wasn't plausible for the county in a very small neighborhood to retrofit. The cost to the people would be prohibitive. I don't know, it's been years since I've been involved in that. But I'd be curious.
Last question. Ray, I think you hit it on the head that we don't allow new septic system subdivisions anymore. There are individual homes that still have it. And the next step of development where we will continue to have septic systems in Florida in perpetuity. However, there are better systems than we have today. There's been steps over the years to increase the separation between the infiltrative surface and the groundwater system, for instance. And that was done initially because of virus transport. The latest steps in septic system design have been nitrogen reducing, and that is basically adding an additional tank with aeration to get better treatment out of those systems. So the technology is available to get to that place.
Okay,
And
last
it will be the next evolution.
Last question.
Yes, my name is Gracia Schroeder. I'm a 37-year resident of the area, and I watched the phosphate industry go from being the totally bad guy, where I can remember years ago, Charlotte County was engaged in numerous lawsuits and then agreed never to sue them again, to becoming the good guy. All the billboards that you see about all the phosphate industry does for us, and we had a major dump of phosphate waste a number of years ago because they hadn't planned properly for what to do with their spills. I'm wondering, I really think this is a regional issue, and as much as we do here, has anything been done to sort of control the benevolent phosphate industry that's funding Moat Marine, the Chambers of Commerce, every not-for-profit in the area, so that new people coming to this area think they're a wonderful God over our area?
Well, what you're referring to is what we call the Bone Valley down in the middle of Polk County and so forth. Years ago, it was just, go for it. And they were, the other negative aspect of phosphate was that the aquifer was being used to such an extent that it caused problems with the aquifer, the drinking water aquifer.
And saltwater.
And saltwater intrusion. So you've made a lot of progress in the last few years. There was a fund that was put together that they had to pay for, the phosphate industry, that paid for that old system up towards Manatee and Sarasota that had a real problem. It took a long time. It used the entire fund to clean that. They're under much more scrutiny. At the Peace River Water Authority, for example, we have phosphate above the DeSoto plant through Horse Creek, and they themselves created a monitoring system for the 4 counties to allow us to see on a daily basis that the water was good coming down. Now, in addition, and there's a lot more, John can talk about it too, but in addition to that, the good things they are doing are a result of the fact that they were doing bad things. So the reclamation projects that they do are real, and of course they're trying to offset any negativity. The issue is that Florida is still one of the largest industries for fertilizer in the world. They could go offshore tomorrow. They could go offshore tomorrow to another country, and there's a lot of other countries with it. And then I'd like to see what the economic impact would be. So there's another balancing act that has to take place.
Okay.
Not the best guys in the world, not the worst guys.
Okay, with that, I'm going to use my moderator discretion to bypass the closing statements. We pride ourselves here at Tiger Bay at getting everybody out at 1:15, and we're, I think, at 1:17 now. So I'll